do some quick intros. But Staci and Brant are from Rocket Travel and from American Airlines. And the topic of our session, and let me just read it from the board here, seamless experience, a modern travel solution for long-standing loyalty program. It's a bunch of gibberish, but let's explore it, because I think what we've got to talk about is actually a lot more exciting than what that title might make people think about. So maybe quick introductions for those who don't know who you are. Staci.
Okay, is this on?
Should be good.
Good to go. All right, Staci Markwood. I luckily know several in this room. I'm really excited to be here. So I currently lead global partnerships and new business development for Rocket Travel. In case you don't know and you're wondering, is that part of Rocket Mortgage? Like, who is that? So Rocket Travel, for those who don't know, is truly the business-to-business arm of Booking Holdings. So some of our sister brands you may be more aware of are Booking.com, Priceline, Kayak, RentalCars.com, etc. But we like to be on the backside that really are powering our travel solutions for our partners. So excited to be here today.
Hi, my name is Brant Veasy. I've been at American Airlines for 8 years after graduating just down the road here at Georgetown. I have been in the loyalty space for the last 3 years. I moved, I think, a month and a half into the pandemic. So it's certainly been an interesting time to kind of jump into the industry. My team leads all of our strategy related to our currency and our partnerships. And one of those great partnerships that we have here is with Staci and Rocket Travel. And just really excited to kind of get into some of the collaboration that we've had over the last few years.
You know, it's interesting. Brant and I were just having a quick chat over the cocktails last night, but at the time that Brant moved in, for those that are American Airlines customers, you'll know that in 2020 there was a rapid pace of change in the Advantage program in terms of just improving customer experience, removing some friction points in the program. The program really took advantage of, dare I say, with crisis comes opportunity, but there was some downtime and some time to focus on improving some member experience. For those that aren't American Airlines customers, probably something you hadn't noticed, but let's explore sort of the partnership discussion, which is sort of why we're here today. And in terms of your own branding, Staci, some people might be more familiar with RocketMiles.com, for example. But may not be aware of a lot of the B2B white branded solutions that you have, and obviously we want to specifically talk about American Airlines here. So, sort of question to both of you. Maybe we'll start with Staci and then Brant, get your perspective. So I guess two-part question. Sort of, how did the relationship and the partnership sort of come to be? And for those that aren't familiar, maybe you could sort of step through what that actual partnership looks like.
Sure.
It's certainly been an evolution. So over 10 years ago, Rocket Travel began its relationship with American Airlines in bringing Rocket Miles to consumers. And what's unique about what we are able to bring is that higher value through our higher margin supply and spreads that are unique to us in the industry. Second to that is really that seamless experience. And as the evolution evolved, I think there was an opportunity to really look at how the airline and the loyalty programs were coming together to think about the customer in unique ways. So is that customer looking for, more of an easier, more cancelable reservations and things of that nature from one side of the coin, or the high value and the seamless experience that we could get from the loyalty-driven side of it. So then it became a white label platform solution, which is super innovative in this space that brought both of those concepts together. And then most recently, I think it was 2021, we added another layer to that in offering the ability for not only folks to earn, but also have that redemption capability. So it is those additional vertical offerings and really seeing that continuum of that customer journey from, obviously, flight is very important and typically the first part of someone's journey, to carry that through and help to capitalize for the partnership with American.
Yeah, and so, taking this back 10 years when we started on RocketMiles.com, we really just listened to our customers, and we saw this incredibly growing segment that people would want to go and find these opportunities outside of the standard, legacy hotel chains where you'd go and earn points for your stay. They were really going to RocketMiles.com to go fulfill the ability to earn more Advantage miles. And so, again, over time, we just saw the power of being able to kind of collaborate with Rocket Miles and deliver excise value to our customers. And again, what we have today, which is our bookaahotels.com platform, powered by Booking and Rocket, this just started as like a quick test on rocketmiles.com. And you couldn't imagine what that would grow into today. It's been a really important part of our business. It's allowed us to kind of, again, brand that page as an American Airlines asset. And we're really just excited about all of the growth that we've seen on the platform and really where we can take this. We don't think that growth is over. Going back to something that you had said, David, we really changed our program coming out of the pandemic about 2 years ago. We had a huge focus on simplification. I think we've heard that quite a bit today. How do we make our program simple for the end user and really focus on providing them value and for us really trying to drive incrementality in the business. And so we really shifted a lot of our focus over to a concept called loyalty points. It was really deconstructing the EQDs, EQMs, EQSs, all of these words that we had and this lingo that we had that a very small base of customers really understood, and tried to incentivize a lot of incremental behavior within the ecosystem that we were trying to build. And so one of the really big parts of that, our partnership with Rocket, but also using our rental car partners, using one of our co-branded credit cards. We really wanted to bring the ability to show recognition to our most valuable customers, whether they were flying or whether they weren't. And clearly during the pandemic, people were not flying, but we had a lot of loyal customers who were still engaging. And so trying to build a program around those people who are going out of their way to engage with the program, not just through flight. And so again, I just think that this partnership that we have is a reflection of that direction that we've been moving in.
Quick show of hands. Who's familiar with rocketmiles.com and like the concept of Rocket Miles? You go to the website, you can book a hotel. It's essentially an OTA experience, but you can earn your favorite airline miles. Pretty much everybody. Is anybody not familiar with it? Anybody who I'm talking complete gibberish? Okay, cool.
Good.
That's good. Now, hands up all my non-US people, my non-Americans. Okay, so at least half the room, non-American. This is great. And hands up, who's my Australians, Canadians, and British? Okay, Phil, put your hand up. Okay, there's a couple. Okay, so outside of the US, okay, really, okay, and LATAM as well, but the US is unique. The US market is unique in a couple of senses. Tons, but specifically to this conversation, in that it's really weird that the biggest airline programs in the world, up until a couple of years ago, have had really small ecosystems. Really, really small walled gardens. They're really struggling to have everyday earn and burn partners. When you think about going across the border to Canada, you can earn Scott, where are you? You can earn your miles at the LCBO. Basically, you can get up in the morning, you can go to bed at night, and every activity during the day, you can be earning or redeeming miles in the largest program in the country, right? And the same in Australia, the same in the UK, the same if you think about life miles, for example. I don't like to use the word, the coalition word, but I like to call them everyday earn and burn partners. And really what you're saying is there was a very deliberate expansion from Americans' commercial strategy to really want to try to expand the ability to connect with members in day-to-day activities. And so, Staci, I want to sort of bring this back. We talked about rocketmiles.com, and Brant, you hinted at that with Book AA hotels, which, correct me if I get any of your internal terminology wrong, but for those who don't know, it's basically rocketmiles.com, but white labeled for American Airlines. And the leading question I've got there for you is, as you've strengthened and kind of become closer in this relationship, can you talk about how you've found that that's increased engagement or amplified activity with members? In the industry, we talk about the three-way win. A win for the program economically, a win for our partner, and a win for our members. And that's the goal sort of in every partnership and initiative we do. Can you sort of talk about how that's impacted your two parties?
Yeah, I'll start a little bit. One of the things that I really valued yesterday in the conversation that I was hearing is where we've come together really strongly in the partnership is really preventing that fragmentation, I believe, early on, and having that alignment across marketing, loyalty, product. Because it's one thing to be loyalty driven, but really when I think about the customer experience, it's about, when we say it's seamless, it should be simple. If you think about all of the noise in the market today, we do a lot of research, and it's shocking, or not shocking, and it may be typical from what folks see, but on someone's planning journey for travel, they typically have like 60 tabs open. They are investigating, they're looking, and in an industry where there's so much information at someone's discretion and they're looking around, you've got to be relevant. You've got to be different in providing that value. And the way that we're thinking about our products, and we'll talk a little bit about that soon on how we're listening to the customer, but we are changing our products all the time. Our supply has to be top notch, and basically they need to be able to find hotels, cars at the places that they're traveling and where that they're going. The way that we're providing value, dynamic rewards, we are talking differently to the customer, and as the way that we're tiering redemption, obviously everyone loves to be rewarded. And so one of the things that we've added to the platform is this concept of instant accrual, knowing that that customer is really close to either another choice reward level or another elite status tier, and to be able to talk to them from that perspective. But it's also bringing that stickiness in the ecosystem back to the bottom line and capitalizing on that. And so ways that we've done that is, we've all talked about emails, but cross-selling is not a new concept, but are we cross-selling in a way that is significantly specific to that individual? And it all comes back to data. And I know we've all been saying that, or we've been talking about that, but one of the ways that we've really worked to strategize together as well is sharing that data, knowing who that customer is, and feeding that information to them. And David, I love it when you said yesterday about 80% of the revenue typically comes from 20% of the customer, and we're really looking to change that narrative in the way that we're thinking about marketing, loyalty rewards, boosting behavior when they're bundling services and things of that nature to really bring value to the partnership and to the customer.
Yeah, when that customer's coming down that American Airlines kind of funnel, they're purchasing a flight, let's say they're going to California, right? We have a widget right after you check out that is actually run by the Rocket team that is going to show you 3 properties that are going to be exactly where you're flying to. And so once we know that, then we can, kind of get that car offer in case you need a rental car, maybe you need a service driver, whatever you need. We're really trying to bring a very seamless connected journey for that customer, not just for flight, but through the entire path. And no better place to do that when you're booking your flight. So continuing to bring simplicity to the customer, as well as really that connected, seamless journey is a big focus of ours.
And in terms of, Staci, you sort of hinted at it, but in terms of, again, further evolution, sort of what's to come, but just to refocus one of the questions, how have you seen putting all that together, the connected experience, the commercial aspect, the being able to work across the verticals and the silos to get the product delivery? How have you, or maybe it's too early, I mean, I guess it's a question, Brant, especially for your perspective with your members. Staci, I know you have tons of data. How have you seen the closeness of the relationship, particularly in light of now a couple of years worth of loyalty points? How have you seen application of engagement activity? Maybe I made an assumption earlier when I made the comment about, hey, we've expanded the everyday, earning opportunities. Have you actually seen that translate to real behavioral change?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 2 years ago, I referenced before, we introduced this concept of loyalty points. So now when you interact with one of our partners in our ecosystem, you're not just earning the redeemable currency, but you're also working on your way towards status. And so we have some customers who are incentivized by the miles, some that are incentivized by earning status with the airline. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap there as well, but adding that status piece to our partnerships, was like pouring kerosene on a fire. We had a ton of people, especially this last January and February, which are the last 2 months to qualify for the next year, that were booking hotels probably down the street, right? And just trying to get kind of that last minute engagement. What I had talked about before, that is incrementality at its finest, right? Somebody who is not going to take a hotel stay and is now, and it's a win for the customer. They're going to be able to retain their status, and it's obviously a win for our partnership, driving that incremental behavior. So yeah, we couldn't have imagined this 10 years ago when we were one of 20 currencies on rocketmiles.com that this is where it was going to land us. But you have to keep just listening to the customer. What are they looking for? And make sure that kind of stays in line with your commercial strategy. And for us, that's simplification and driving value for the end consumer.
I think that's a really important point, Brant. Again, people have heard me rant for years. When the airline, when Americans switched to revenue-based earning, was the last one to do it. There was a corporate decision to just copy the others, rightly or wrongly. I was highly critical of it at the time, and I emphasized the point that the mistake that American made at the time was not recognizing that not everybody is motivated by points. Some people are motivated by status, others are motivated by other means. You need to be able to, I don't want to say segment those customers, but you need to be able to recognize that you have to have strategies to be able to motivate and engage those customers wherever they are and whatever is motivating behind them. In terms of, obviously the kerosene on the fire, Staci, I'll let you add to that in a second, but also you hinted at, hey, there's more to come. I don't know how much you could talk about it, but can you give us maybe a teaser of sort of things that might be in the works?
Yes.
If not, just say no comment.
Yeah, no. Couple of things. I'm going to go back to your comment for a quick second, if you don't mind, because it kind of sparked. But I think, too, really, when you say kerosene to the fire, it's to say it lightly. But I think some of the changes that we've seen in the industry over the past 3-4 years, et cetera, where it's much more difficult for a consumer to transfer any hotel currency into airline. Right? And those limitations, I think, have also made the airline loyalty programs even more rewarding from that perspective. And so from our partnership, those are kind of some of the changes in the industry that we've seen that we're able even to capitalize on. And when you think about how are we changing from a product or an offering perspective, we have to think really strategically from our side too. It's like, what does the customer want and value most? Whether that's boosting a reward, but we have to think differently about that reward. Obviously, how do we make a refundable room or rate now refundable for that customer? And so it's this concept of refundability, improved cancellation, more reward, more value, et cetera. On the teaser front, we never want to stop with status quo. I think, as we talked a little bit before, we have a data visualization tool that capitalizes on all of the data, most of the pain points, and just information in real time. So we know marketing that we're doing, promotions that we're doing. We can get on same time each day, look at those things, and then we're aligning once a week and saying, how is this data and information changing the way that we want to think differently about the customer? So we're really excited. We can't share a whole lot today, but it's coming very soon that we are taking that to a whole new level in the way that we are thinking about the customer and really evolving our entire platform to be more conducive to what they value most.
Yeah, no, I think I would say that the major strategy we have is we need to stay true to our customers, so we're always listening to what they have to say. They've been telling us great feedback on Rocket. They want more. They want different ways to earn miles. And so, again, it's kind of staying with that. One thing I wanted to touch on as well, we've heard a lot about test and learn. First of all, Rocket and Booking have been amazing with test and learn. And so we've been making small incremental changes to the website over time. One thing I want to add to that, though, is I think every now and then you need to take a leap in addition to those small changes. So, we will continue to test and learn, but sometimes you kind of hit that plateau that people talk about, and sometimes you need to take a bold risk. And so that's always something that we keep on our minds. That was kind of the concept of loyalty points, where that evolved from, was really kind of changing things, and we're certainly open to being bold, aggressive, but again, all based in listening to the customer.
Yeah, and just to add to that, ways that we're thinking about listening to the customer from a product perspective that I think is unique in the market too is we actually have a tool where we can get real-time feedback from the customer and understand their pain points while they're in the booking process. They can actually add comments at that time, and we actually review that data. So are there pain points and an inability to book, or is there something that they really liked? We've actually also worked with our partnerships to have customers actually come to our headquarters in Chicago. And so we do customer interviews and we walk them through the platform or things that we're doing, and that's really how we're evolving. And then in terms of our partnership as well is obviously customer surveys and feedback, et cetera. It's just continually making those changes. And they don't always have to be big changes, but we're looking forward to making a few leaps.
Fantastic. Look, I think we don't quite have any time for questions, but we are going to go into a break in a moment. So if anybody has questions, I'm sure they can buttonhole you at the back of the room or out in the balcony. But I have to say, you know, I mean, for those who followed my rants over the years, you know, I'm critical where it deserves to be critical. And the good news for me and my click rates and all the rest is there's a long list of stuff to pick on programs about and tell people how stupid they are. But at the same time, what's been really refreshing in the last couple of years with American is those bold initiatives. You know, and maybe, again, with crisis comes opportunity, but also some strong leadership for management and, you know, some really, really bold moves. And I think, I mean, I'm not going to ask you about some of the secret numbers, but I think it's fair to say that commercially it has been very successful. And when things are commercially successful, things go well for you at work when you're a loyalty manager, right? So this is good news, I think, for those of us in the room, good lessons and takeaways for us. Thank you both for your time. Thank you for sharing some of the secret sauce, at least.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.